How long are you going to pretend you don't know? How long are you going to wake up in the morning, with the alarm clock screaming, and feel nothing? Not just tired. Tired can be fixed with coffee. This is something else. This is a weight. A weight so heavy that the simple act of pulling the covers back feels like lifting a mountain. You feel this concrete, paralyzing exhaustion. And you know, deep down, that more sleep won't fix it. Because you just slept for 9, maybe 10 hours. But it wasn't rest. It was an escape. It was a little death. You lay your head on the pillow not to recharge, but to check out. To fast forward through the parts of life that just hurt. And when you finally force yourself up, when you're in the shower, the water hits you but you don't really feel it. You're already somewhere else. You're disconnected. This is the detachment. It's the feeling of standing at a party, or a family dinner, or a work meeting. People are talking. They're laughing. You can see their mouths moving. You nod. You even smile. You've gotten very, very good at smiling. But you are not there. You are watching your own life from behind a thick, soundproof pane of glass. You feel like a ghost in your own body. You see your hands move, you hear your voice say the right things. I'm fine, thanks. Just tired. But it's not you. The real you is somewhere far, far away. And this is the loneliness. It's the most painful kind of loneliness in the world. It's not the loneliness of being in an empty room. It's the loneliness of being in a full room, and knowing, with absolute certainty, that no one there can see the real you. That if you were to suddenly stop performing, if you were to let the mask fall from your face and show the aching emptiness underneath, they would all run. Or they would be confused. Or they would offer you cheap, easy solutions that feel like insults. So you keep the mask on. And the loneliness gets deeper. This is the cycle. The detachment from your life makes you feel profoundly, terrifyingly alone. The loneliness makes you exhausted. And the exhaustion, the excessive sleep, is your only refuge from the pain of the first two. Loneliness, detachment, sleep. The unholy trinity of a life unlived. And then, in the late hours, when the house is silent and the blue light from your phone is the only light in the room, the real question comes. The one from the title. The one you've been pushing away. What if this isn't depression? What if this isn't a chemical imbalance? What if this is my soul? What if the very essence of me, the part that is supposed to feel joy and connection and purpose, what if it's just giving up? What if it's packing its bags? What if this gray, numb, exhausted fog is the sound of my soul saying goodbye? You've tried to fix it, haven't you? Of course you have. You're not lazy. You're a fighter. You read the self-help books. You downloaded the mindfulness apps. You sat on a cushion and tried to observe your thoughts. But your thoughts were just, this is stupid, and I'm failing at this, too, and what am I making for dinner? It didn't bring peace. It just made you feel like a failure at meditation. You tried positive thinking. You tried to force gratitude. You stood in front of the mirror and said, I am strong. I am happy. I love my life. And you felt like a liar. The voice in the back of your head just whispered, no, you're not. And that voice felt more real, more honest, than the affirmations ever did. You tried being busy. You threw yourself into work. You said yes to every project. You organized the family gathering. You started going to the gym at 6 a.m. You thought that if you just ran fast enough, if you just filled every second of your day with doing, the emptiness wouldn't be able to catch up. But it did. It caught up with you in the car, in the quiet moments between meetings. It caught up with you at the end of the day, when you check off every item on your to-do list, and you would feel nothing. No satisfaction. No peace. Just the terrifying realization that you have to do it all over again tomorrow. All these solutions failed. They failed miserably. And they left you feeling even more broken than before. Because now, you're not just lonely and detached, you're also the person who failed to fix themselves. The person for whom gratitude journals and 5 a.m. clubs just don't work. The sense of failure piles on top of the exhaustion, and the bed calls to you even louder. What if the problem isn't what you think it is? What if all this pain, the numbness, the sleep, the suffocating loneliness, what if it's not a sign that you are broken? What if it's a symptom? What if it's a desperate, primal message from a part of you that you have been ignoring for your entire life? You've been trying to fix the outside. You've been trying to change your habits, change your thoughts, change your schedule. You've been trying to put a new coat of paint on a house that is crumbling from the inside. The problem isn't your schedule. The problem isn't your mindset. The problem is the distance. There was a man, a psychologist named Carl Rogers, who built his entire life's work around this single, devastating feeling. He gave it a name. He called it incongruence. It's a simple word, but it describes a profound human tragedy. It is the gap, the chasm, the painful, aching void, between two different versions of you. On one side of this canyon, there is the real you. The you that exists underneath all the noise. The you that was born into this world. The you that has quiet needs, and strange hobbies, and deep feelings. The you that maybe doesn't want to climb the corporate ladder. The you that maybe doesn't want the perfect house. The you that sometimes gets angry for no reason, or feels deeply sad about the world, or just wants to be left alone to read a book. This is your core. Your organism. Your soul, if you want to call it that. And on the other side of the canyon, there is the pretend you. This is the person you think you need to be to survive. The person you've built, brick by brick, since you were a child. The good daughter. The successful employee. The strong friend. The perfect partner. The person who is always reliable. The person who never complains. The person who is always fine. Your entire life has become a performance. And you are so tired. The exhaustion, the excessive sleep, it's the crushing, physical fatigue of holding that mask in place. It's heavy. Holding a smile you don't feel, for 8 hours at work, is more exhausting than running a marathon. Agreeing to go to a party you dread, and making small talk for 3 hours, drains your battery more than any physical labor. The detachment? It's the only way your mind can cope with the performance. You have to disconnect. You have to float away. Because if you were truly present for the life you are faking, the pain of it, the lie of it, would be unbearable. So you go numb. You're not living your life, you're auditioning for it. Every single day. And the loneliness? This is the most heartbreaking part. The loneliness is the sound of your real self, trapped on the other side of that canyon, screaming for you. It's watching the pretend you get all the attention, get the polite nods, get the likes on social media, while the real you, the one who is actually feeling and hurting, is completely, utterly, and totally alone. So, is your soul saying goodbye? No. It's not saying goodbye. It's suffocating. It's not giving up. It's sounding the alarm. The loneliness, the detachment, the exhaustion, these are not signs of a soul dying. They are the desperate flares being shot into the sky by a soul that is screaming to be found. They are the body's final, desperate attempt to make the pain of your incongruence so unbearable that you are finally forced to stop. To listen. And to turn around. And before we continue this journey, I need to know who is with me. What city or country are you watching me from right now? Let me know in the comments. And if this subject has already touched you in some way, subscribe to the channel. It's your subscription that helps us continue to bring this message. We've named the monster. We've called it incongruence. This gap between who you are and who you pretend to be. But how did this happen? How did this gap form? You weren't born this way. No child is. When you were a baby, you were perfectly congruent. You were 100% your real self. When you were hungry, you cried. You didn't stop and think, am I bothering anyone? Is this a convenient time for me to be hungry? You just were. When you were happy, you laughed. When you were hurt, you screamed. Your inner world and your outer world were a perfect match. Then, we learned. We learned the rules. Carl Rogers had a name for these rules, too. He called them conditions of value. These are the invisible price tags for love. They are the unspoken contracts we are forced to sign in order to be accepted, to be part of the tribe, to be good. It started with your parents. Maybe you were a loud, energetic, joyful child. You ran around, you yelled, you slammed doors. And you were told, calm down. Be quiet. Stop being so much. The message you received wasn't, I am tired. The message you heard was, your joy is annoying. Your energy is wrong. To be loved, you must be quiet. So you cut off a piece of your real self, your spontaneous joy, and you buried it. Maybe you were a sensitive child. You cried easily. You felt things deeply. And you were told, stop crying, or I'll give you something to cry about. Be a big boy. You're too sensitive. The message you heard was, your sadness is a weakness. Your feelings are a burden. To be loved, you must be strong. You must be fine. So you cut off another piece of your real self, your vulnerability, and you buried it. This process continued. At school, you learned, to be valued, you must get good grades. So maybe you buried your love of art to focus on math. You cut off your creativity. With your first friends, you learned, to be liked, you must agree. So you buried your real opinions. You started nodding along to things you didn't believe. You cut off your integrity. In your first relationship, you learned, to be loved, you must not be needy. So you stopped asking for what you needed. You buried your own needs. You cut off your own voice. With every condition of value we accepted, we cut off another vital piece of our real self and buried it in the dark. And what did we build on top of that graveyard? We built the ideal self. This ideal self is the person we believe we should be. It's a perfect, flawless, impossible phantom. The ideal self is the you who is always productive, always positive, always selfless, always strong, always calm, always in control. The ideal self is the person who is loved by everyone, who is never a burden, who never makes a mistake. The ideal self is the mask. At first, you wore it just for specific people. You put on the good student mask for your teachers. You put on the perfect employee mask for your boss. But after 10, 20, 30 years, the mask has fused to your face. The performance became permanent. You've looked in the mirror for so long and seen the mask, you've forgotten what your real face even looks like. This is the labyrinth. You are living a life as the mask. And the mask cannot feel. The mask cannot connect. The mask cannot rest. So, let's look at the symptoms again through this lens. Why are you so lonely? Because the mask can't form real connections. The mask can only perform. It can be admired, it can be respected, it can be found nice, but it can never be known. And it can never be loved. Love requires vulnerability. Love requires the real self. Your real self is starving for connection, but the mask won't let anyone in. You are profoundly, deeply unseen. Why are you so detached? Because you are detached. You are detached from your own life. You are a puppet. The ideal self is pulling the strings, making you go to the job you hate to buy things you don't need to impress people you don't even like. Your real self, the true you, has no investment in this story. It's not your story. It's the mask story. So you just float above it, numb, watching the show. And why the excessive sleep? Because it is the only place you are safe. It is the only time you get to take the mask off. The performance is over. The pressure is gone. Sleep is the only place left where you don't have to be on. You don't have to pretend. Sleep is the last remaining refuge of your real self. You are not tired of life. You are tired of the performance. You are exhausted from the 24/7 job of not being you. The core problem, the one that no self-help book will tell you, is that you have become a stranger to yourself. You have spent your entire life trying to earn love from others, and in the process, you have abandoned the only person who was ever truly there, you. You've been waiting for the key to unlock this prison. You've been waiting for the hack or the answer. So here it is. This is the great revelation. The problem, the core of the wound, is incongruence. It is the gap. The answer, therefore, must be the closing of that gap. The answer is congruence. But how? How do you do that? How do you find your real self after it's been buried for decades under the concrete of the ideal self? This is the aha moment. This is what Rogers built his entire philosophy on. You cannot fix yourself. You cannot fight yourself. You cannot shame yourself into being real. The only way out is through acceptance. The clinical term Rogers used is unconditional positive regard. It's a fancy term for the most powerful healing force on the planet. It is love, with no strings attached. Remember those conditions of value? I will love you if. Unconditional positive regard is the antidote. It is the medicine. It is saying, I love you. Period. Rogers discovered that a person can only heal, can only grow, can only find themselves, when they are in the presence of this unconditional acceptance. Usually, this starts with someone else. A therapist. A true friend. A partner. Someone who can look at your mess, your anger, your sadness, your not good enough parts, and not run away. Someone who sees the mask and the real face, and chooses the real face. But the final step, the real transformation, is when you learn to give it to yourself. This is the key. You must stop the war against yourself. You have to finally, after a lifetime of running, turn around and face all the parts of you that you've buried. The sadness you were told was weakness. You must invite it in. Sit with it. Listen to what it's trying to tell you. Accept it as a part of you. The anger you were told was bad. You must accept it. It's your power. It's your no. It's the part of you that defends your boundaries. The laziness you feel, the desire to just stop, what if it's not laziness? What if it's your real self screaming that it is done with the performance? You must accept it. The answer is to stop judging yourself and start observing yourself. With curiosity. With kindness. The moment you stop trying to fix yourself and instead try to understand yourself, the mask begins to crack. This is congruence. It is the terrifying, courageous act of letting your inside match your outside. It means saying no when you mean no, even if it disappoints someone. It means allowing yourself to cry, and not apologizing for it. It means speaking your truth, even if your voice shakes. It means showing the world, one tiny, brave step at a time, who you really are. The great revelation is this: the solution to your exhaustion is not more sleep. The solution is authenticity. The solution to your detachment is not being more present. The solution is living a life that is actually yours. And the solution to your loneliness is not more people. The solution is allowing your real self to finally be seen. The soul is not saying goodbye. It is waiting. It's been waiting your whole life for you to stop punishing it, and to finally, come home. Did this revelation make sense to you? I really want to know your opinion. And if you made it this far, you are part of the 1% who truly seek to evolve. So, if you haven't already, subscribe now so you don't miss the next video and tell me what city you managed to reach the end from. So what does this new path look like? What happens when you start this journey of congruence? It is not a magic switch. It is a process. It is often 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But, it is the first time you will feel alive. Remember the person from the beginning? The one in the gray fog, watching life from behind the glass. That person was spending 100% of their energy just to maintain the prison of the ideal self. The moment you start to practice acceptance, that energy is liberated. And slowly, the world changes. The colors start to seem brighter. You'll taste your food, really taste it. You'll hear a song, and it will move you. The detachment fades. Because you are no longer a performer. You are a participant. You are present in your own skin, in your own life, because it is finally your life. The loneliness begins to dissolve. It's a strange feeling. You might even have fewer people in your life, because the mask used to attract a lot of fake connections. But the one or two connections you do have, they are real. They are with people who see you, not the mask. And one single, authentic connection is enough to heal a lifetime of isolation. And the exhaustion? The excessive sleep? You will still get tired. But it will be the right kind of tired. It will be the honest, satisfying tiredness of a day lived, not the soul-crushing fatigue of a day performed. You will no longer need sleep as an escape. You will want to be awake for your own life. We started this journey by asking a terrifying question. We asked if this cold, numb, exhausted feeling was a sign that your soul was saying goodbye. We now have the answer. It was not a goodbye. It was a summons. It was an alarm. It was an invitation. It was your truest, most beautiful, and most buried self, standing in the dark, patiently waiting, asking you a single, life-changing question. How long are you going to keep pretending that I don't exist?